Cause I don't care what you think.
Still booking?
Laura!
Cruise on down to Carpet City.
Sounds
and
good.
Search the dumpsters for remnants.
Oh no, you lost me.
Go home.
Go home. I'm with you. I'm with you all the way, Laura. Like what? It was sounding good. Till you talking about we gonna go to some dumpsters? What are you talking about? But we're back at it again. It's Steve and Laura time all the time. And again, we're looking at the, the relationship of Carl Winslow, Papa, you know what I'm saying? Laura Winslow and the Earth Man. You feel what I'm saying? Let's get it. I'm feeling you, Laura, on that right there, though. I'm feeling you, girl.
What's the matter, Puddin' Pop?
What's the matter, Puddin' Pop?
Well, if you must know, I'm a little worried about my father.
The big guy? Oh, well, what's wrong?
Hold on, we gotta stop real quick, though. Because I wonder if anybody ever noticed, Laura does not reject Steve's pet names for her. I'm just one through all, she never rejects them. Except for one, I think he calls her like Monkey Doodle, and that's like the only one. Think about all the pet names through all the years that Steve has called Laura. She's never rejected them. Puddin' Pop. Puddin' Pop.
Well, my mom asked him if he was going to take the test to become a lieutenant, and he completely freaked out. Oh, you know why he did that?
No, but I want you to continue, so I went,
Exactly right.
Oh,
Well, is the big guy still freaked out?
let's just say he's treating us the way he normally treats you.
Let's look at that for a second, right? Again, Laura, I'm going to keep saying it. Laura made Steve wait. But again, she got her pops that does not, I don't want to say that Carl doesn't think highly of Steve, but Laura just admitted it. He doesn't treat him good, right? And so this is what I'm saying. Again, just asking the question, are these some of the things that influence Laura at this point? Even though you saw, which is so amazing at the same time though, guys, even though you saw her talk to Steve on a deep level and you can tell that this is bothering her. So again, what do you see? You see the warm side. I keep saying this with Laura. You see the warm side, you see the pop-off side a little bit, or the warm side and maybe the rude side, because there's that a struggle that goes on inside of her, because on one side of it, she has this bond with Steve. She has this connection with Steve. She trusts him. She just opened up, she's opened up to him. But on the other side, her family still ain't down with him like that. So it's just, and I know all people know what it is. There's some of us that deal with this as adults. And Laura's 15, 16 here. Okay.
I just wish there was something I could do to help him.
What your father needs is a heart-to-heart chat with someone wise, caring, and sensitive.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you're right.
But we don't know anybody like that, so I'll do it.
Oh, you'll do it.
Well, bye, sweetums.
Advice, he needs someone, sensitive and to talk. Laura said, you know what? You're right. Receptive. I wonder if people see that. Laura is very receptive of Steve. This stuff isn't lost on Laura at all. And this is what I'm saying. If the stuff that Steve does is not lost on Laura, how do you think the way Carl treats Steve, how it affects Laura? Okay, let's want to point this stuff out.
Please, party on, party on.
And we had to bring Stefan in here because I think, now the dynamic, of course, we're talking about is Laura, Steve, Carl. But to me, looking at Stefan exposes, what I've been talking about as far as the influence and the impact that Laura's family may have on her and her interaction with Steve. Check this out.
Harriet, that hair, that dress. If Carl knew what I was thinking right now, he'd arrest me. BG.
BG?
Well, big guy, of course. Hey, are you losing weight?
A little.
Steve! Stefan.
Right. Are your parents happy with the new you?
Oh, they love the new me.
Got, Carl cracking up. And again, we cannot underestimate the influence of the family and the influence of the father. So now you got, and even the people around, right? You got the people around, you got, Eddie that's cool with Stefan. You got mom, moms are moms, right? And you're like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Carl, that's cool with Stefan. So you have to understand too. And people like, well, Laura didn't like, Steve until he turned into Stefan. Yeah, because she's still young. And it's because it's what's being accepted right now. Come in and charmed her father and her mother and her brother, and now he's charming her. And it's funny that Laura, again, she's the only one that catches the heat for liking Stefan, but none of the rest of the family does. None of the rest of the family catches heat for liking Stefan, only Laura. Okay. Do that dance, Laura. Guys, save some for later. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't done. I wasn't finished, nor was I done.
Tell me the truth. Do I look better at 131 pounds or 132?
Stefan, I told you at dinner. I prefer 132.
Really? Because I feel so bulky.
Laura's over it already. And this is what I want to point out, okay? So we just saw her just attacking his lips. You know what I'm saying? In front of everybody and all this other type of stuff. But what's happening now? Getting bored. She's getting irritated because she's swaying with the rest of the family. But is it really deep down how she feels right now?
Stefan, we have to talk.
Oh?
I never thought I'd say this in a million years, but...
But what?
I miss Steve Urkel.
Why?
Because he had feelings. He cared about people. Face it, Stefan. Numero uno on your list is you.
This is what I mean. You're going to see Laura kind of grow out of her family and into her own self and into her own relationship with Steve. She's the only one that has said this. I want you to go back. I miss Steve Urkel. I want you to go back to Steve Urkel. I miss him. She's the only one that has said, I miss Steve Urkel.
Can you blame me?
Yes.
Yeah, because she got...
Look at me. I'm incredible.
Wow.
Good looking, charming, suave, and cool.
Huh. What you got to say, Laura?
That's it. I want Steve back.
Yeah, Laura does not care about any of those things. One, she's lived it her whole life. She's beautiful. Right? She's all these things. So that does not impress her. And this is what I've been saying over and over and over again, okay? Is there are things about Steve that Laura doesn't understand, because she's still young and she's still learning. But there's other things about Steve that Laura admires. And when Steve is not around, she misses him because she misses those qualities that only he can bring. This is the thing about Steve and Laura. There's things on the inside of her and there's things on the inside of him that they bring to each other that nobody else can measure up to, or that nobody else brings to the table what they bring to the table for each other. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? And this is what you're seeing when Steve is not there. Laura's missing those certain things about him.
Steve was an annoying, clumsy nerd. A man would have to be crazy to go back to that.
Oh.
Or in love.
What do you mean?
Now sweat, my pet.
He's back.
I never thought I'd be so glad to hear such an annoying sound.
I never thought I'd be so glad to hear such an annoying sound. What is so beautiful in this moment is what Laura just said, annoying sound. Again, for people that sit up here and say Laura never accepted Steve. Laura didn't accept Steve until he turned into Stefan. Well, actually, it's the opposite, right? Laura knows exactly who Steve is now, and those qualities about him she misses. But here's the other thing. Again, I say, nobody else has said, I prefer Steve over Stefan. Nobody's done that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody. And you have to remember, Stefan's like, look at all these people that love me. Look at all these people. Look, his parents even love him now, right? So this thing that Laura did right here is very unpopular. You know what I'm saying? Think about if her dad was there, her brother was there, his family was there, you know, her friends were there. They would be looking at her crazy because they're like, no, we want Stefan. Laura, you will see again and again, pick Steve over Stefan. So this stance that Laura has right now, you know, is we would call uncool. It's uncool because Stefan is so cool and he's so popular. And this goes to show you that Laura doesn't care about any of those things. And also what I love too is, again, this is going against, you know, not even just Steve's family, but this is going against her family, like I said, completely going against them. And so this is, again, no one wants to talk about this, that Laura is the only one that was like, I want you to go back to Steve. I miss Steve. Laura was the only one to do that, despite how her parents are reacting to him, her friends, her family, all of that. You just got to recognize everybody else loves it, but the one person that's supposed to like it and love it the most doesn't. Just think about that. And when we think about destiny and purpose and everything else, because Stefan and Laura were never meant to be together. Steve and Laura were meant to be together. That's where the purpose is, and that's what she's missing.
Well, that's not very nice. Oh, but I forgive you.
Hold on tight, Laura. Hold on tight.
You okay?
Oh, honey, I'm fine.
Carl, we were so worried about you.
It's Christmas time, and we just have to believe that everything's going to be all right. Right, Steve?
All right, big guy.
I've invited Steve to spend the night.
You have? I thought you said you were okay.
I'm loving this right now. You know, again, what are we looking at? The relationship of Laura, Carl, Steve, how they intertwine and all that stuff. And now, you know, Carl's even inviting Steve over to stay the night and for Christmas and everything else. I just thought this was a really, you know, beautiful moment for Laura to see that, you know, her husband to be, y'all know what I'm talking about. She don't know it yet, but her husband to be bonding with her father. You know what I'm saying? These are the memories you think back later when you go and you have your kids and your grandkids and everything.
More than okay. Thanks to Steve.
Right.
He reminded me of what Christmas is all about. You know what I need?
It is all about Laura, huh, Steve? It's all about Laura. Steve, you know what it is.
Big hug for my family.
Oh,
Come
yes,
on,
it
here.
is.
Come on.
Come on.
Hey, come on over here, Steve.
Ah.
For me too? Wow. This really must be Christmas.
Right. I think this is so important as Laura and Steve's relationship continues to grow. Really starting to see in this moment too is not just Laura's love for Steve grow, but the acceptance of Steve overall by the family. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's so good for Laura, as we know Laura's future, because they don't realize right now that, you know, that's about to be her husband. Okay, that's about to be hubby right there. So this is very important that Laura sees in her family environment that they're embracing and loving on Steve. It's beautiful.
I finally saved enough money to buy myself a car.
Hey. Right there. Get it?
Congratulations, honey.
So what kind of car did you pick out?
Well, I was down at Honest Bob's used but not abused cars.
Uh-oh. Sweetheart, you have to be extra careful of a place that has the word honest in its name.
You gotta be extra careful when it says in the title used and abused. Used and abused. Hold on now. Hold on.
Oh, I know. Well, anyway, I was walking around the lot and bam,
Bam.
I saw a beauty. An amazing piece of work. And then he stepped aside and I saw the car. Like,
Lord, what was his name? Lord, what was his name? What was his name? Did you get the digits? Did you get the number?
it's an 81 Fiat Spider.
Oh, honey, that's an old car.
Oh, I know. But she's absolutely gorgeous when she's all tanked up and her top is down.
You need me to go with you when you go down to buy the car? You know, these salesmen can be pretty tricky.
No, I can handle it. I've done my homework on this car. I know exactly what it's worth.
And this is what oh gosh. First of all, we're looking at father-daughter interaction with buying a car, guys. Like, this is buying a car right now, you know, but what I really love about it is Laura saved up the money and did the research. Saved up the money, as in her parents did not give her the money, and did the research on the car. So she knows what it's worth. She knows what she's working with. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, I love it. Now, normally, fathers probably would step in a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, with your daughter. You go buy your daughter first car, you know, or at least help her pick it out. You know, we don't always know. And so you want to go and get the info from Pops. Like, is this a good car? You got a Laura Winslow, so he can't go help her pick out the car. But I think it's the interaction is sweet nonetheless, though.
Okay, but I'm here if you change your mind.
Well, I appreciate that, Dad, but I'm an adult now. I earned the money myself. I did the research myself, and now I want to buy it myself.
Are you going to pay for the insurance yourself?
Exactly.
Hey, I can't do everything myself.
Exactly. So it's okay, Daddy gonna have to, flip the bill on the insurance. And like I said, I think it was very important to put in Stefan, because what do we hear all the time? Laura did. Oh my. Okay, let me show it. Lies irritate me bad. But when they're blatant lies, I'm not talking about the rumor, this or that, but just blatant lies, they irritate me. But when, people say, Laura didn't accept Steve until he became Stefan. I'm like, that could not be the farthest thing from the truth, which is where a lot of people like to live nowadays, is the farthest thing from the truth. But I'm here to bring the truth, okay? You see here, Laura, asked Stefan, like, bro, you a little arrogant and get on my nerves, and you don't offer me much, right? You good looking, I love kissing on you, but that's all there is, right? And so Laura even tells Stefan, I want Steve back. And then look at how, even now, it's right on time, look at how tightly she's holding on to him. Steve, he tells Laura all that he is. I'm popular, I'm cool, all this other type of stuff, right? But what's even more important is he also tells Laura, and saying what he is, he's saying what Steve isn't, and then he tells you what Steve was a clumsy so-and-so nerd. You'd be crazy to want to go back to that. Think about how powerful that sounds. You would be crazy. So a person would be crazy to want to go back to that. But yet Laura wants him to. You feel what I'm saying? And so the thing about it is, again, when we're talking about acceptance, Stefan just put it in, just as plain as can be. I'm all of this, and Steve is whack. Why do you want whack, Laura? You know what I'm saying? And so for people to sit up here and say, Laura did not accept Steve. Remember when Stefan, okay, yes, this is still Family Matters, guys. I know it gets a little crazy. When it turns into, no, it's not a Transformers. Family Matters was just doing some weird stuff, okay? They was just doing some weird stuff. But when he turns back into Steve, you see Laura said,
I thought I'd be so glad to hear such an annoying sound.
So glad to hear such an annoying sound. That is, oh, man, are y'all feeling that right now? That is acceptance at its finest. Laura saying, I'm so glad to hear such an annoying sound. That is acknowledging all that Steve is, and acknowledging that she still wants him in her life. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's why I wanted to put Stefan in, for that second, because like I said, Stefan revealed a lot of things. What is the other thing that Stefan revealed? The influence that the family dynamic has on you, the influence that the father has on you. Like I said, Stefan's all goody-goody with moms and pops and with brother and with friends and others, right? And Steve is almost the opposite of that. Not so much here, because I said it before and I will say it again. Laura's the only one that wanted Stefan to go back to Steve. And I also said in the video, if you caught it, I said it's the unpopular thing. It's the actually uncool thing is for Laura to want Stefan to go back to being Steve. And even Stefan said, I hope that does not get lost on y'all. Stefan tells Laura to her face, man, somebody got to be crazy to want to go back to that. But that's also speaking to her. Why do you want that? Like, look at all that I am. This is Stefan, right? Telling Laura, look at all that I am. Why in the world would you want me to go back to Steve? And why would you want Steve? Because despite all the lies and all the hate about Laura, I said this again and again and again. There are things that Laura admires about Steve that feeds her soul. She doesn't like to admit it, okay? But there are things there. Oh, he was Stefan good looking, looked like Laura had a joy, okay? Joy to the world. Oh, Stefan is here. He has come. Laura looked like she had a good old time kissing Stefan. You know what I'm saying? But you see, that did not sustain her. It didn't sustain her. You know what I'm saying? She literally like demanding for Steve to come back. And this is what I'm talking about. And she demanded for Stefan to bring Steve back because Stefan, as great as he was to everybody else, he was not fulfilling or filling Laura's soul. There's things about Steve and Laura where they feed each other. They feed each other's souls. And that is the thing I will say that Laura struggles with, because it's something that she has and the vibe that she has with Steve that the rest of her family does not have. So there are times when she treats him based on her soul, and there's times when she treats him based on her surroundings. You feel what I'm saying? And don't be trying to judge her on that. She's young. I know grown adults that still do this mess. Come on now. Now let me get to this other point. And here's the other thing that no one really talks about, right? We always talk about how smooth Stefan is, in this scene and in this episode and all that. And no one ever talks about how smooth Laura is. No one ever talks, I'd say that he's not in these scenes by himself. Look at her right now. You know what I'm saying? There is a smoothness that is to her. There is a charisma that is to her. Can I quote TLC? There is a crazy, sexy, cool about Laura Winslow. Right. And we're seeing it a little bit here, too, in this moment. And I wonder if people ever recognize that Laura matched him smooth for smooth. Right. Sexy for sexy. She matched him. I just really wonder if anybody ever notices that, and again, we're talking about the great, Kelly and Jalil. Right. We're talking about that. But I just wonder if people ever really notice this, you see it even right now, like just this whole scene. And does anyone ever notice, Laura was smooth too? You know what I'm saying? Laura has that charisma too. Wait a minute. She's literally matching him, and I say this all the time, with all due respect. I got a video coming on this later, but all due respect to Jalil. But I said this before. He never outperformed anybody on that show. And he definitely never outperformed Kelly. And so even with this scene here, I just wonder if people ever recognize that, when I know I get it. He's supposed to be Stefan and cool and all that. But I'm like, y'all need to pay a little bit of attention to Laura too, man, because she was on her crazy, sexy, cool too. And just pointing out, this is all the stuff that Laura did with Stefan, and none of it matters. She still wants Steve. She can't do any of this cool, smooth stuff with Steve, right? That's why I wanted to make the point about it being smooth. Laura can't do this cool, smooth stuff with Steve right now. And she may never. That's just the reality. Steve, their smoothness may be polka dancing, okay? Their smoothness may be, playing the accordion. Laura may never dance this smooth with Steve ever, right? But it doesn't matter. Because it's fun right now. Eyes are all on her. You know what I'm saying? She dancing the jig, you know what I'm saying? But it's not fulfilling her soul. Funny to me that no one ever wants to talk about any other family excepting Stefan, inviting him in, all this other type of stuff, right? But then, Steve, you act like Steve coming the doggy door. It seems like Steve got to walk through the doggy door. And the doors are open for Stefan. And no one ever talks about this when it comes to Laura and how the family dynamic impacts her. It's always Laura. Laura didn't accept Steve and tell Stefan. Okay, guys, which is not true. Actually, what's true about that is that was her family. That was the people. That was the surroundings, right? That was because what you're talking about is a romantic level. Laura got a little romantic, got a little romance going with Stefan, right? You're talking about romance. You're not talking about purpose and being and the presence of a person. That is not true that Laura did not accept Steve. You're talking about on a romantic level, and that is it. And you saw with Laura, the romantic level did not matter. She was willing to, not willing, she gave it up. She gave up all of this, gave up the romantic time with Stefan to be unromantic with Steve. What does that tell you? She values him. She has a connection with him. She's, I say this all the time. Steve and Laura are soulmates, right? They're soulmates. Now, I told you, Steve stimulates Laura's mind. Laura needs her mind stimulated, right? Stefan may stimulate other areas, okay? He may stimulate some other areas that Laura got going on there, right? And that is the difference. And I think for Laura right now, stimulating her body, stimulating her body, you know what I'm saying? It's not enough. I think she needs her mind and her soul to be stimulated. And that is the difference between Stefan and Steve. But with Laura, though, is that you're seeing her come out of that a little bit. She wanted Steve back. I told you, she's the only one that did that. Eddie wouldn't have done that. Her dad wouldn't have done that. Her mom wouldn't have done that. Nobody, her friends, nobody but her would have done that. So, man, look. You know what I'm saying? The truth is the truth, and that's what I love this dynamic of Steve, Laura, Carl, because you do see some of the influences and some of the different, how do you say it? Engagement, the different things that you go through. And even like I said, too, when Steve was there at Christmas time and it was, and they had that little group hug, that was good for that to happen because Laura's starting to see Steve be is a little more accepted into her family. That is important as far as her future is concerned with this man. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I said, the family dynamic is so powerful. The father's impact on the daughter is, powerful, impactful, life-changing, life-altering. We're seeing some of the different issues, there. And that's what I said once again, Laura has phenomenal parents in Harriet and Carl, but they're not perfect. So as they learn, she has to learn. I don't understand that why everybody else gets grace but Laura. I just don't understand that. Make it make sense. Why does everybody else get grace but Laura? And I know why. Because we're in a hateful, jealous type of, cold world. And, and we're in this world of perfection. We think everybody is supposed to meet your need and your expectation and your this and your that. And it's like, nah, man, y'all gonna have to answer to God for that. When you think people got to measure up to your level of perfection. And that's including even your parents, right? That's including even if anybody's listening, that's including even your kids. All of us need grace. All of us need a heavenly Father that sent his son Jesus to die on the cross for our sins because we need it. And we all need grace. We all need forgiveness, and we all need forgiveness and we all need to be forgiven. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, man, love God, love people. May God bless you. May God keep you.
Take a risk, don't never take a break. Never.